Pittsburgh Trivia is a production of Warrior House Media.
Welcome to Pittsburgh Trivia with your host, Jim Cannon, where uncovering the crazy truth and trivia about Pittsburgh is just the beginning. And who knows, you may even learn a few things in the process. We know life can get pretty interesting around Pittsburgh. Speaking of interesting, did you know that?
Hi, and welcome to Pittsburgh Trivia, an interactive trivia show where we test your knowledge of all things Pittsburgh and the surrounding region. I'm your host, Jim Cannon. Thanks for joining me. Before we get into this episode, let me explain how the show works. We have 2 rounds of 5 questions each. I'll read a question, pause for a few seconds to let you think about it, then move on to the next one. At the end of each round, I'll read the questions again and provide the answers, along with some additional information. After 2 rounds, there's one final bonus question. I'll read it, give a slightly longer pause, and then provide the answer. And that's it! The show's a fun way for you to see what you know about Pittsburgh and learn some things along the way. You can check out the show, meaning all of the episodes, on our website, pittsburghtriviapodcast.com. And yes, you have to spell it out, but once you get there, if you bookmark the page or add it to your favorites, the site will be just a mouse click away for you. The show is also available on several different platforms if you prefer to use one of them to listen. As of this episode, obviously always subject to change, we're on Amazon Music, Apple, iHeart, and Spotify, in addition to the shows being housed on the website, which again is pittsburghtriviapodcast.com. Now, if you like the show, please, on whatever platform you use, do us a favor, hit the like button. Social media and the various platforms that we use make the show possible and available, but a vital part of that process is using metrics. And things like number of views or downloads, numbers of likes, they all certainly help with the show ranking, meaning it's easier for people to find, which means more people listen, which means we keep doing the show. And the show is free for you, the listener, and we have a lot of fun producing this. So we're asking you for a big favor and hoping you click on the little thumbs up button on your platform. We also have a social media presence on Facebook, X, and Instagram. And we throw up random trivia posts, sometimes even post hints to upcoming questions. So with all that out of the way, we can get into some Pittsburgh trivia and have a little fun. You ready? Let's go. Round 1, question 1. This is a question about Mr. Rogers. One of these items from the show, always closely associated with the show opening and closing, now sits at the Smithsonian National Museum of American History in Washington, D.C. What is the item? Question 2. Rosslyn Place, a street in Shadyside, is only 250 feet long, but its really unique characteristic is its construction. It's the last of its kind in Pittsburgh and one of only a few left anywhere in the world. What is Rosslyn Place made of? Question 3. This is a multiple choice question, and who doesn't love a good multiple choice question? For the 2023-2024 academic year, the University of Pittsburgh's main campus had a total enrollment of approximately how many students? Was it 27,000, 29,000, or 31,000? Question 4. I'm feeling generous, so I'll throw out another multiple choice question for you. If you're a fan of Mark Twain and decide to live out your Huckleberry Finn fantasy, traveling the Ohio River down to where it meets the Mississippi and then eventually flows into New Orleans, how much of an elevation difference would there be, measured in feet, from the point downtown to Cairo, Illinois, where the rivers join? Is it approximately 550 feet, 650 feet, or 850 feet? Again, what is the difference in elevation? The last question of the round, question 5. Part of a retail chain founded in 1919 in Massachusetts called the New England Trading Company. This discount store had several locations across the eastern United States, including in Pittsburgh. Unfortunately, the chain zeroed itself out and zapped itself into oblivion in 1992. What was the chain? All right, we are going to head back and get the answers for round one. Question one. This is a question about Mr. Rogers. One of these items from the show, always closely associated with the show opening and closing, now sits in the Smithsonian National Museum of American History in Washington, D.C., and that is a sweater. The one in the museum is a red cardigan that Fred Rogers wore on the show. He donated it to the Smithsonian in 1984, and it's actually the same sweater he wore to meet President George Bush in 2002. Question 2. Rosslyn Place, a street in Shadyside, is only 250 feet long, but its really unique characteristic is its construction. It's the last of its kind in Pittsburgh and one of only a few left anywhere in the world. What is Rosslyn Place made of? And you'll have to forgive me for ending that with a preposition. The answer is wood. The street is paved with wooden blocks, actually 26,000 individual wooden blocks. Original construction took 6 months, and it became an official Pittsburgh road in 1914. And it is also a designated historic landmark. Pretty cool. You just got to drive slow on it. Question 3. All right, this was a multiple choice question. For the 2023-24 academic year, the University of Pittsburgh's main campus had a total enrollment of approximately how many students? Was it 27,000, 29,000, or 31,000? The answer? It was roughly 29,000. The actual number was 29,400 and some change. There were roughly 20,000 undergrads and about 9,200 graduate students. And if you're interested in the rest of the Pitt campuses, Bradford had about 900, Greensburg 1,300, Johnstown 1,900, and Titusville, which is a 2-year campus with a nursing program, had 28. Question 4. I threw another multiple choice question out there just because I can. If you're a fan of Mark Twain and decide to live out your Huck Finn fantasy, traveling the Ohio River down to where it meets the Mississippi and then flows into New Orleans, how much of an elevation difference would there be measured in feet from the point downtown to Cairo, Illinois, where the rivers join? Is it approximately 550 feet, 650 feet, or 850 feet? The answer, it would be roughly 650 feet. Now, before researching this one, I thought the elevation difference would have been much greater given Pittsburgh's topography and the hilly terrain, kind of where it sits. But the city is at right around 1,200 feet above sea level. So it would make sense that there's only a few hundred feet difference between that and a city in Illinois. For those interested in the specific numbers, the Ohio River at the point, like right at the triangle where the fountain is, measures 219 meters, or 954 feet in elevation, and 91 meters, or 298 feet, in Cairo, Illinois, where, again, the Ohio runs into the Mississippi and then heads down to New Orleans. And we rounded out this one with question 5. Part of a retail chain founded in 1919 in Massachusetts called the New England Trading Company, this discount store had several locations across the eastern United States, including Pittsburgh. Unfortunately, the chain zeroed itself out and zapped itself into oblivion in 1992. The answer is, I really hope you got the hint with the alliteration with the letter Z, because there was no other way to do this. The chain was called Zayre, Z-A-Y-R-E. Yeah, that was a tough one. All right, well, that first round was full of some pretty random subject matter, and I hope you did well. Now that your brain is firing, we're going to throw 5 more questions your way, but just a quick message. You can download individual episodes, just take them right off the interweb and listen to them whenever and wherever you want, like, say, on 376 commuting to work, or maybe you and the family are on a road trip and this can be your Clark Griswold moment. But yeah, you can take the episodes with you and listen at your leisure. Pretty cool. All right, I'm assuming you're warmed up and ready for more Pittsburgh trivia? 'Cause here we go. Round 2, question 1. And this will be a 2-part question, so I'm going to split the topic in half, and then it's going to be 2 separate questions, question 1 and question 2, and you'll see why in a second. You ready? An iconic image created in 1942 entitled "We Can Do It" featured a female factory worker wearing a red bandana and a blue work shirt with rolled-up sleeves. What was the name given to the woman in this famous image? Question 2. This is the second part of the question. For what major Pittsburgh corporation did the artist design that image? Question 3. This daughter of 2 prominent yet divorced Hollywood actors enrolled in Carnegie Mellon University and started her first semester in August of 2024. Hopefully, it won't be an impossible mission for her. What is the last name of this celebrity kid? All right. Question 4. This comedian graduated from Upper St. Clair High School. He participated in a Comedy Central roast of Donald Trump in 2011 and premiered his own stand-up special in 2015 titled Thoughts and Prayers. And in November of 2024, he rolled out his 5th Netflix special titled Bones and All. Who is he? Question 5. Here's one just to see if you're paying attention. It's a Steelers question, so take a minute to rub your terrible towel for inspiration. Who did the Steelers defeat in Super Bowl 43? Was it the Seattle Seahawks, the Arizona Cardinals, or the New York Giants? All right, that was it for round 2. We're going to go back and check out the answers and see how well you know Pittsburgh. Question 1, this was a 2-part question, and this is the first part of it. An iconic image created in 1942 entitled We Can Do It featured a female factory worker wearing a red bandana and a blue work shirt with rolled-up sleeves. What was the name given to the woman in this famous image? The answer: Rosie the Riveter. And then we jumped to question 2, which is the second part of this question, and we'll give you some more information on all this. For what major Pittsburgh corporation did the artist design that image? The answer: it was created for the Westinghouse Corporation. So during the Second World War, there was a shortage of labor, which in the 1940s was almost exclusively men when it came to industrial roles. So companies everywhere in the U.S. were trying to recruit women to fill the roles in order to keep industry afloat, a good portion of which was actually manufacturing parts and components for the military. Artist J. Howard Miller was commissioned by Westinghouse to come up with something that would appeal to women, showing both femininity but also strength. And he came up with the iconic image of a woman dressed in work clothes and kind of flexing her bicep, along with the caption, "We Can Do It," which is, as mentioned in question 1, the actual title of the work. The image went viral, and this is back before images, going viral were a thing. And the Defense Department ended up co-opting, which that's kind of a polite way of saying stealing, the image, and used it across the country for wartime propaganda. Artist Norman Rockwell, known for his own creations, produced his own version of the image in 1943, and other knockoffs and other versions of that image sprouted up over the next couple of years. But don't be fooled, the original was a Pittsburgh creation done for Westinghouse. And question 3. This daughter of two prominent yet divorced Hollywood actors enrolled in Carnegie Mellon University and started her first semester August of 2024. Hopefully, school won't be an impossible mission for her. What is the last name of this celebrity kid? Cruise. Her name is Suri Cruise, daughter of Tom Cruise and Katie Holmes. At the time her mom helped her move into the dorm on August 20th of 2024, Suri's major was unknown, though rumored to be fashion or, I know in a big shock, acting. Now, question 4 was a little bit tough unless you are into comedy, and especially contemporary comedy. This comedian graduated from Upper St. Clair High School. He participated in a Comedy Central roast of Donald Trump in 2011 and premiered his own stand-up special in 2015 titled Thoughts and Prayers. In November of 2024, he rolled out his 5th Netflix special titled Bones and All. Who is that comedian? His name is Anthony Jeselnik. He graduated from Upper St. Clair High School in 1997. He earned a bachelor's degree in English Lit with a business minor from Tulane University in 2001. And during his senior year at Tulane, his girlfriend accidentally burned down his apartment, which he would later use as early stand-up material. Now, if you're into comedy and you haven't watched him, I happen to like this guy because he gives a very deadpan delivery. But I will tell you, if you're easily offended, don't watch. His comedy can be a little edgy, a little dark. I happen to enjoy it, but if that's not your cup of tea, then this probably isn't your guy. And question 5, this one was to see if you were paying attention. Who did the Steelers defeat in Super Bowl 43? Was it the Seattle Seahawks, Arizona Cardinals, or New York Giants? The answer is, come on, you Steelers fans should know this, the Arizona Cardinals. That was in 2009. They beat the Seahawks when? In 2006. And they have never, ever, ever faced the Giants in the Super Bowl. That'll do it for round 2. There are 10 questions in the history books, and we're about to move on to the bonus question. So if you're ready, let's just jump in. Born in Pittsburgh in 1879, Calbreth Perry Rogers grew up in Shadyside and later moved to Maryland. In the spring of 1911, while visiting a cousin in Dayton, Ohio, Rogers picked up a new hobby, flying, at a newly formed Wright Flying School, starting with a 90-minute lesson from a guy named Orville Wright. Just 3 months later, Rogers started his journey to become the first person to do what? And here's a hint, because I know some of these are pretty tough. The answer has nothing to do with oceans. Rogers started his journey to become the first person to do what? And the answer is, in September 1911, Rogers left on a journey to become the first person to complete a flight across the United States. Now keep in mind, this is years before Charles Lindbergh and Amelia Earhart. This is 1911. It's pretty crazy. So Rogers was deaf in one ear and almost deaf in the other due to a bout with scarlet fever as a kid. So you fast forward, he goes to visit his cousin at the school run by the Wright brothers, and about a week after his first lesson, he asked to do a solo flight, and he got denied. So he did what any of us would do in that situation, of course. He went out and he bought a plane. And then a month later, got his pilot's license. In August of that year, he heard that William Randolph Hearst, the famous publisher, was offering $50,000 to anybody who could fly across the country in less than 30 days. So for his flight, he actually went out and bought a different plane, and he made the trip, but he missed the prize deadline by 19 days due to being off course, mechanical issues, and just other stuff that slowed him down along the way. And sadly, just a few months later, he was out flying, and he hit a flock of birds that caused him to crash, and he ended up dying. But you can see a replica of his plane at the Heinz History Center. Pretty cool piece of history. And that'll do it for another episode of Pittsburgh Trivia. Hope you had fun, scored high, and learned a few things along the way. Thanks for playing and spending time with us, and we'll see you next time.
What? You're never gonna believe this. We'll leave that nugget for next time. So if you want more wacky Pittsburgh trivia, be sure to subscribe and we'll invite you back to our next episode. But if you just can't wait, visit our website at pittsburghtriviapodcast.com, where we think Pittsburgh trivia isn't trivial.